Hello. Where'd it go? You see that back there?
There's a light.
There is. Yeah, no cars are parked. Yeah, nobody around.
Tonight, we look at 6 disturbing camping encounters caught on camera. Real moments, real danger. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying footage like this. Let's begin. On February 26, 2023, Isabel Page shared a new chapter of her travels on YouTube. Known for her raw storytelling, Isabel documents both the beauty and the struggle of life on the road. This time, she and her partner Logan entered Costa Rica, a land of thick humidity, dense jungle, and restless nights. The video is titled, "Why Was I So Scared?" And from the very beginning, it's clear that fear would become an uninvited companion.
Last night was really rough. We were up all night trying to get the mosquitoes. Apparently we didn't get all of them because my face has a lot of bites on them.
We got probably like 30.
We probably killed like 30 mosquitoes. There was so many in our little like teepee thing. We're off to get a coffee this morning. We decided to take an alternative route.
Their journey into Costa Rica began in discomfort. The first night, inside a small canvas tent, the air was hot and restless. Mosquitoes swarmed the space, keeping them awake until dawn. Isabel later counted more than 30 bites across her face. They killed as many as they could, but the buzzing never stopped, leaving her exhausted and already questioning the decision to be here.
We were both feeling very excited to go somewhere new, and after a long hike out of there and a very long and crowded bus ride, we made it to the airport.
That bus ride, we were taking a chance too because we didn't know if this was the right station. We're trying to get 3 hours south.
About 30 minutes.
Yeah, we slept like 30 minutes last night. I'm exhausted. I had a meltdown at the bus station earlier, crying on the side of the highway.
After 14 hours and 3 different flights and then a 7-hour bus ride, lugging all our things around, it can sometimes make me question whether the benefit of traveling outweighs the struggle. But after what felt like forever, we finally made it to the jungle.
The following morning brought little relief. Determined to push forward, they boarded a bus heading south. It was suffocatingly crowded. People squeezed shoulder to shoulder, some even hanging off the back as the vehicle lurched through the streets. For Isabel, who had barely slept, the ride felt endless. Hours of travel, the noise, the heat. It broke her down. At the bus station, she found herself crying openly, sitting on the side of the highway, unsure whether the effort to keep moving was worth it. But the most frightening moment came later, deep in the night.
Before I left for this trip, I was feeling, I don't know why, like so much stress about like kind of dumb things. And I think it was all rooting from being scared to like change my life or like change my routine or get out of my comfort zone, I guess. And I feel like this trip so far has really challenged that and like really helped me to be less scared. Do you think that's done that for you?
I was so unnecessarily afraid of a lot of things before this.
I know.
I was afraid to oh, don't.
There has been so many moments throughout the past like month where he said, "Oh, I'm about to die right now."
Oh, there were so many times I was certain.
You were certain.
I was like, I'm dead and so are you. And
Paleo?
Paleo.
I had an allergic reaction to something and Logan seriously thought I was about to die.
I was so certain. Yeah, because she had her chest was breaking out and everything.
I was throwing up and Logan was crying. And
of course I was crying. I thought you were dead. I was like, oh, you're for sure dead and this is the end.
We were really far from anything and it was the middle of the night and...
That was the worst day maybe ever.
Isabel suffered a sudden allergic reaction. Her chest flared with rashes, nausea overtook her, and she began to vomit uncontrollably. In the isolation of the jungle with no hospital nearby, Logan believed he was watching her fade. He cried, convinced she might not survive until morning. For both of them, it became one of the worst nights of their lives. Travel through Costa Rica remained unforgiving. Remote dirt roads left them stranded, waiting for a taxi that never came. They stood for nearly an hour under the punishing heat before deciding to walk alone toward town. carrying all their belongings, unsure if anyone would pass by. Salvation arrived in the form of a family from San Diego who happened to drive along that same road, offering them a ride. From there, the journey turned toward the coast. A water taxi carried them through twisting river channels, a maze of water leading out to the ocean. Eventually, they reached Drake Bay, a small, isolated village in the far south of Costa Rica, a place almost entirely cut off except by boat. Even in these challenges, Isabel found fleeting moments of wonder. She tasted mangoes so sweet they seemed like candy. She learned to cook plantains for the first time. Local markets offered vegetables she hadn't seen since living in Hawaii, and avocados she described as the best of her life. Yet beneath those joys lingered fatigue, homesickness, and a fear she admitted ran deeper than she could fully explain. Viewers were quick to notice the vulnerability in Isabel's story. Many wrote about how natural it was to miss one's parents, yet some wondered why the fear felt so overwhelming. Logan's tears during Isabel's reaction raised its own questions. Was it only panic, or did he sense something more in that moment of isolation? The jungle had tested them, but perhaps it revealed something deeper: the fragility of being far from safety. Isabel herself admitted she didn't fully understand the depth of her fear. Was it simply exhaustion, homesickness, and uncertainty? Or was it the jungle pressing in from all sides, amplifying every weakness? Why was she so scared? And could that fear have been the very thing that kept her alive? Hold on a sec. If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's continue. Offmore Woodland, a place steeped in local folklore and repeated reports of odd occurrences, is the setting for this episode. The footage was filmed on a cold night as the host arrives just before dusk, explaining that people in the area have long described unexplained voices, sudden drops in temperature, strange lights, and the uneasy feeling of being watched. Intending to stay until after 8:30 p.m. when darkness deepens, he begins by arranging his gear: K2 meters, motion-activated lights, and a spirit box.
Welcome back everybody to Black Country Ghost Hunters. We're at a location today called Offmore Woodland, which has gained a reputation for supernatural activity. Many strange things have been spotted by locals, various other people which I've spoken to. I'm actually going to wait until 8:30 p.m. where it goes much more darker, but until then I'm going to relax and sip my coffee. If any spirit is present with me, can you come forward and communicate by putting various things on my devices? I have lights placed around. You can communicate with those or put words on my spirit box. Where are we? Woods. Sure that said woods. Yeah, we're in Woodland.
He speaks to the camera, outlining his plan to wait, relax, and see whether anything will interact with the devices he's left around the clearing. The investigation starts alone, calm at first, but tension builds quickly. Almost immediately, the K2 meter registers activity, flashing several times in response to prompts. The investigator asks for multiple strong light responses, and the lights respond. That early confirmation sets a charged tone for the night. As he moves deeper into the trees, audible whispers and faint, indistinct mumbling drift through the audio. The spirit box produces fragments of words that only heighten the unease.
Can you make noises around me, like you was doing? For your vlog? Let me replay. It said, for your vlog. We are going to walk around Offmore Woodland, go in various places. Grabbing my K2 meter. Let's go. Creepy part, we heard noises, great K2 responses, again strange words. Hello? Walking down, sounded like very faint mumbling. just walking further down, finding places where we can conduct more ghost investigations. If any spirit is still present with us, can you please make yourself known?
The K2 continues to spike intermittently, and the recorder picks up soft, distant sounds that could be footfalls or rustling underbrush. Later, faint lights appear among the trees. The team follows the glow as it approaches without making any obvious sound. They debate whether the source might be a cyclist or someone with a flashlight, but their calls go unanswered.
Yeah, we keep seeing lights. Hello? Shut up.
Where's the lights go?
Hello?
Oh, it's moving. Oh, it's going towards us. It's going towards us. Put the flash down, It's getting closer.
Hello?
What's the bike, I think?
It could be a bike, yeah.
It's really bright now.
But did you not hear the weird noises?
Who's there? This is strange, guys.
I can hear voices.
Can you?
It got closer. And I can hear voices.
Yeah, can still see faint lights.
Like that. What the flip is this? Hello?
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 Much closer. What is that? We can't lose track of this.
No, definitely not.
The lights draw nearer, then seem to move away, an encounter that leaves everyone unsettled. Conversations become tense. Flashlights sweep the woods but reveal nothing. As the group pushes on, a distant scream cuts through the night, followed by an eerie silence. They find themselves near the ruins of a church and its adjacent graveyard, an area with no parked cars and no signs of other people. One investigator reports seeing something run past. Another feels a distinct chill. Flashlights scan graves and crumbling masonry, but visible evidence remains elusive. Throughout the remainder of the visit, the team records bangs, rustles, and distorted voices while instruments continue to show sporadic readings, with a rising sense that they may be watched or followed.
Who did we hear screaming? Oh my god. Oh my god. Guys, stay where we are. That's great paranormal. What the f***?
It's getting raped.
Whoa. I think we need to grab, one of us go and grab a bit of equipment, gather it all up, and then we go. And then we get ready to go. We've got to go through the church, our man, as well. Yeah, no cars are parked. Yeah, nobody around. No cars parked. You tell me where those noises were coming from. Look.
Oh, this is a graveyard.
Yep.
Oh,
That
hell
makes
no.
it even more creepy.
Hell no.
They decide to end the investigation. Before leaving, the host pledges to return for a follow-up session, possibly bringing a teammate for a second attempt. He asks viewers to share their thoughts about whether the night's events point to something paranormal or can be explained by ordinary causes. The consistent K2 responses and the timing of the light activity suggest a pattern of device interaction rather than random interference, though natural sources, wildlife, distant vehicles, or atmospheric electrical fluctuations could also trigger meters and lights. The intermittent, fragmented phrases from the spirit box are difficult to interpret reliably. Audio pareidolia and background noise can produce seemingly meaningful snippets. The approach of faint lights that produced no audible contact is one of the more puzzling elements. Possible explanations range from distant flashlights or bike lights hidden by terrain to reflections or optical artifacts. The location's ruined church and graveyard naturally amplify anxiety, which can affect perception and make ordinary sounds feel threatening. Was this simply a collection of explainable signals amplified by the setting and nerves? Or did the team record something that resists easy explanation? If you watched closely, which moment convinced you most? The K2 flashes, the spirit box fragments, the drifting lights, or the distant scream? And why? Share your theory in the comments. Jordan and Lisa, a van life couple who document their travels on YouTube, had been camping for nearly 5 days on Public Bureau of Land Management land near Bryce Canyon, Utah. Their evenings up until then had been calm and uneventful. On their last night, they decided to finally use their drone to capture some cinematic shots of the sunset and surrounding mountains, footage they hadn't recorded all week. What began as a routine moment of filming quickly shifted into one of the most uncomfortable and potentially dangerous encounters they had ever experienced. As the drone lifted into the air, the couple focused on framing shots of the horizon.
Good morning, guys. This weekend we are headed to Bryce Canyon. Do you want to say what happened last night?
So do we have an interesting story for you? We were at our camp. We've been there for the past 5 days, and I haven't flown my drone at all, right? There's this guy that pulled in probably 4 days prior, and he's been parked there all week. Everything was cool, kosher. I got my drone out. I started filming the mountains. I'll show you some of that drone footage after this. And he comes over highly upset, saying that we were flying the drone over his campsite. Which, keep in mind, guys, this is public land.
He came in hot too. He wasn't just like, "Oh, do you mind like not flying your drone? I don't like that." He was like,
Yeah,
cursing and like.
Yeah, he didn't ask nicely. Honestly, I probably would have reacted different or responded differently if he would have came over and said, "Hey, you know, I understand you're flying your drone. Could you just not fly over the campsite?" That's not how he came in. He came in hot.
He came in aggressive.
From across the clearing, a man who had been camping nearby suddenly approached their van. Though he had been parked a few hundred feet away all week, they had never spoken to him. Without warning, he confronted them aggressively, claiming they had flown the drone over his campsite.
Hey, is that your drone?
It is.
Sitting right over my camp?
Oh.
It's over here.
I see over there. A minute ago it was over my camp.
It literally hasn't gone past my head.
Bullshit.
It literally hasn't.
Bullshit.
I can show you my videos.
Listen, that's
Sir.
where I'm staying. Don't fly your drone over
You
my
think I
camp.
care about your camp more than these mountains?
You want me to kick your Is that it? Is that the best result?
Is that the way you want to go? I mean,
I'll go that way. I don't
bro,
have a
no
problem
one's
with it.
trying to
We'll
look
put the
into your
drone away.
camp.
We'll put the drone away.
I'm just trying to get these mountains.
That's the answer.
That's not
Okay.
the answer. I'm gonna get
Hey,
a
off.
shot.
You put the drone over my camper, I'm gonna kick your
That's fine. Look, the drone will not go beyond this fan.
It has not a minute ago.
Well, if it did, I apologize. But
You off. I'm gonna kick your so you get it
Okay.
over there again.
yeah,
You understand?
sure, I
Good.
understand.
You had the right answer.
Sorry about that. We'll put the.
I'm
He's
not
just
putting
trying
it-
to get the mountain.
I'm just trying to get the mountain. I have nothing
The
to do with
mountain's
this.
over there.
Yes, look,
You just had it over my camp.
because I'm shooting going towards the mountain.
I don't care what you're shooting.
Going towards the mountain.
We'll put
Don't
it
put the drone over my camp. You understand?
We won't put the drone over your.
Just stop talking
Do
to
you
him. Stop
understand?
talking to him. Sir, I told you,
You
it
don't
won't.
want to wipe your
I
up
said
off
it won't
there,
go
sir.
past the van. I
Do
said,
it again,
Sure,
and I'll you up.
sure. It
You
won't
want
go
to do
past.
the mountain? Do the mountain.
It won't go past the van. I already said that.
Good answer.
I said that before.
Dude, I'll shoot the drone out of the air and I'll cut your
Sure,
ass.
sure. I won't bring it towards your van.
Good idea.
Yes. I'm not putting the drone away. I'm getting my shot like I was in the first place.
The man accused them of invading his privacy and insisted that the aircraft had hovered above his camp. Something Jordan knew wasn't true, as the drone had never gone past their own vehicle. Jordan tried to calmly explain that they were filming the landscape, not his site, and reminded him that drone use was legal on BLM land. But the stranger was not interested in discussion. His tone escalated into personal accusations, threats of violence, and even claims that he could shoot the drone down. Sensing how unpredictable the situation had become, Lisa stepped in to diffuse the tension. Even though they were confident they had done nothing wrong, she chose to agree with him where possible, hoping to calm him down enough to walk away. After several tense minutes, the man finally retreated. Moments later, however, things took another unsettling turn.
Yeah, so we ended up just leaving that camp spot last night. It was just safer just not to stick around, and we left.
Then he left, but he left his camper
Yeah.
there. which was sketchy. We're like, why is he leaving? And
That's another reason. That's another reason we left.
Like, what is he gonna go get? So
yeah.
we immediately packed up and left.
Guys, I would have flown my drone for like 10 minutes. 10 minutes tops. You know, he's been there all week.
We've been there all week and didn't get one drone shot. We were
Yeah.
just gonna get the sunset on our last night, and that was it.
And you know us, guys. We stay on public land. It's not like he paid for this campsite. Like, everything was public. Like, he walked up to where we were camping with no problem, but he kept referring to his campsite as like his property. So I was like, okay.
The man left in his vehicle but left his camper behind, raising questions about what he might be retrieving or whether he planned to return. The couple decided not to take chances. They packed their belongings in a rush, left the spot they had called home for days, and drove off into the night.
The first thing we're going to answer is, were we in a national park? No, we weren't in a national park. We weren't in a state park. I was legally able to fly my drone where we were.
We were on public BLM land.
We were completely within our rights to fly where we were. For those of you wondering, I've been flying drones for 2 years. I am trust certified, and my smallest drone does not have to be registered, but my other drone does, so I follow all the FAA rules and regulations. On the DJI app, it has an integrated GPS system, which shows you no-fly zones. This is what it looks like. I'm going to go to the spot that we were at. For those wondering, you see this spot? We're right in here. This is referencing other people that flew their drone in this area.
Later, they explained to viewers that their drone use was entirely legal. They followed FAA rules, used the DJI app with integrated no-fly zones, and confirmed they were operating in a permitted area. Jordan emphasized his training and experience, making clear that nothing about their flight had been reckless or invasive. The confrontation highlights the tension that sometimes arises when technology like drones meets the privacy expectations of others, even on public land. While the couple followed regulations, the neighbor's perception of being watched may have triggered his hostility. Whether his reaction was fueled by genuine paranoia, a misunderstanding, or personal stress remains unknown. What do you think really fueled the man's aggression? A mistaken belief that his privacy was invaded, or something deeper and more troubling? And when faced with this kind of hostility in a remote location, would you have stayed to finish filming or left as Jordan and Lisa did? August 23rd, 2025. Deep in the Canadian Rockies, along the Big Elbow Little Elbow Loop, Jenna Alexis returned. Her YouTube channel, built on raw outdoor adventures and long solitary rides, has taken her through countless trails. But this loop had history. The last time she tried it, mechanical failures forced her back. This time, the same ground waited, and the same problems were about to surface.
Good morning. I had to cuddle up with my bike last night because it barely fits in here. Like, next to the bed, it takes up all the room. I had to take my cooler and bring it to the front and everything. It took me forever to get up and going this morning. I left my campsite at like 5 or 6, and then as soon as I got to the trailhead, I was like, you know what? I could use a little bit more sleep. So I took a nap in the parking lot for like 2 hours. And to be honest, I think I needed that. Like, I think I'm healthier for it. I've been running on fumes lately, but we're here now. We made it to the trail.
The first night set the tone. Cramped inside her tent, her bike pressed against her bedroll, Jenna barely slept. By dawn, she was already exhausted, crawling back into the parking lot to nap for 2 more hours before finally setting out. The trail opened hot and relentless. Rivers cut across her path, and in Crocs she waded through freezing water. Then came the rocks, sharp, uneven, endless. Her mountain bike, weighed down with gear, began to fail. Screws rattled loose, the rack shifted. She forced a repair using nothing but a broken GoPro stick, gauze, and carabiners. For the moment, it held. That night, a worse mistake revealed itself.
Last night was not one of my favorite nights. I was using my clothing bags as insulation from the ground because the ground was really cold. Then I had my pillow, backpack, and my legs were laying over my bike bags, which are super lumpy in the back. And I had my first aid kit over my tailbone that was like poking into the ground. Definitely like one of the bottom 5 sleeps I've ever had. I did get up at like 2 to see the meteor shower, and that was really cool. And I bet you if I had a comfy bed, I would have just slept right through it. So at least I got to see that. I just use a little carabiner to keep my straw for my water bladder like up and off just not dangling around. And I have my silly little GoPro harness that I should put on to carry you with me.
She had left behind her sleeping pad. The ground was cold, unyielding. She lay awake, her body pressed against lumps of gear, whispering it was one of the worst nights of her life. At 2 a.m., she stumbled outside, and the sky exploded with meteors, brief streaks of beauty across the freezing dark. Morning brought no reprieve.
One more unfortunate thing happened. I was hearing like a weird rubbing noise on my tire and I couldn't figure out what it was. And as it turns out, I lost one of the screws from my bike rack. I, being the smart person that I am, did not bring an extra. So the left bag is kind of rubbing on my tire. Like it's still on, but it's not like good. So what do? Oh no. I hear some rubbing. Oh boy. It was going so well. What happened? Bro, you have got to be kidding me. The one on the other side fell out too. And I just tightened it when I fixed the other one. What is happening? Like on the exact same spot. And I tightened it right after I fixed the other one. So what's happening? I have one more GoPro thing on this, but I don't have any more gauze to like wrap it with. So
Hours later, the curse struck again. Another screw fell free. Another side of the rack collapsed. And again, it happened in the same spot as before. The same trail, the same failure. Jenna patched it together once more, but the question lingered. Why here? By the time she reached her van, the ride was over. Her smile was tired, but her words final. She would never return. Viewers noticed what she felt. What are the odds of this happening twice in the same spot? One echoed. Others called the loop cursed, pointing to the failures, the missing gear. Some laughed at the crocs, the makeshift repairs, but behind the humor sat unease. This wasn't just bad luck, it was a pattern. So what lies along the elbow loop? Just steep hills and loose rock, or something more? When breakdowns repeat in the exact same place, when even seasoned riders swear never to return, the question becomes harder to ignore. If the trail claimed Jenna's patience twice, what might it take from the next person who tries? In their latest unsettling investigation, YouTuber Jared Barrett, known online as Bear, and his wife Tiff revisited a stretch of road long feared by locals. Often called Murder Road, it has a dark reputation as a place tied to violent crime, illegal activity, and even reports of bodies hidden in the nearby woods. Some believe several victims remain undiscovered. The couple's goal was to reach the lakeside spot where the first alleged victims, a pair shot by a concealed gunman, were said to have been found.
It looks creepy, doesn't it?
Who wants to go into that?
We're about to go into that.
I thought coming during the day wouldn't be so scary, but now it's just a big black hole.
Well, you didn't make it this far last time. You didn't get to see the big black hole last time.
This is less scary with a little bit of light.
No, it is for sure. I like getting places with daylight now.
I don't think I could do the big black hole.
We're going in it.
What?
We're going right in. Did you just hear a voice? That sounded like a girl's voice.
Oh my gosh.
That was...
It's coming from the big black hole.
That was a scream.
Yes, it was.
Scream. Big black hole. Murder Road.
Their journey began just before sunset as they approached what Jared ominously referred to as the Black Hole, a pitch-dark corridor of road leading deep into the trees. Not long after entering the forest, they began to hear sounds in the distance. Faint voices and what Tiff described as a scream echoing from the darkness. Despite their unease, they pressed forward, their flashlights cutting through the growing shadows. Jared recalled his previous visit, when he had seen a man moving silently through the woods without a light, a memory that only added to the tension. As the night deepened, a sudden shout pierced the air, followed minutes later by a gunshot in the distance. Tiff was shaken and wanted to turn back, but Jared encouraged her to continue in hopes of finding reflective markers.
Man, I do keep hearing voices, though. I just heard it again. Did you hear that? Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's off in the distance. So, voices and again.
Jerry.
There was a scream right after that.
Nope, I'm done. A gunshot?
Yeah, but we got one too. And that was far off as well.
I mean, bullets go fast, though.
Well, that's true, but I mean, that sounded like... I'm not too worried about that yet. If it starts getting closer, like we see the flash from the muzzle, then it's really time to get scared.
No, I mean...
Huh? Okay, no, we'll get scared before that. You're right. It's probably better to get scared before that.
That investigators were rumored to have tied to trees where bodies had been discovered. Soon, another gunshot rang out, this time closer. The couple argued briefly over whether they were moving toward the danger. While Jared insisted the shots weren't aimed at them, Tiff reminded him that the first victims had been killed by a sniper hidden in the hills. Their nerves frayed further when they noticed what looked like a small light flickering deep in the woods. Jared tried to capture it on camera, but the glow disappeared almost instantly. With no vehicles nearby and no reason for anyone else to be there, the sighting was deeply unsettling.
Look. Give me the camera. Take my light.
I will take what?
Take my light. To put the lights down. Where'd they go? You see that back there, babe?
There's a light.
There is.
What the hell?
There's a light back there. There's no cars here, babe.
People here.
I know.
With guns. Jerry.
Hold on. We're okay. I want to get that light on camera better. Where'd it go? Do you see it? The light went out. I don't see it no more.
Jerry. No.
What do you mean?
I'm done. We're getting closer to the gunshot.
That was a lot closer. But I mean, it's not like aimed towards us, you know?
How do you know that?
Because they'd be closer.
Oh my gosh. You don't have to be close to...
No, the first two people were killed by a sniper.
Oh my gosh. I'm done.
What?
Nope. Done.
As they continued searching, Jared explained that investigators had once marked suspected dump sites with reflectors to make them easier to revisit. He scanned the trees while the forest seemed alive with threatening noises, echoes of voices, shifting wind, and distant gunfire. Tiff admitted she was no longer okay, and even Jared began questioning whether it was wise to continue.
We haven't even made it out the forest yet. We gotta look for reflectors where the bodies were found. What's that behind me? Is that a reflector back there? Shine your light back here real quick, babe. Look, right back here. You see a reflector?
What's a reflector?
So like the FBI and the detectives and stuff, they marked some of the body areas with reflectors, so when they come back, they could find it easy in the forest. So that's another thing we're going to be doing while we're walking, is we're going to shine like out in the woods, babe, and try to find these reflectors where the bodies were actually at.
There are people screaming and yelling and gunfire.
Yeah. I think we're okay, though.
No, I'm not okay.
I'm not too worried about it yet.
Oh my gosh, Jerry.
Well, okay. Can we go a little further? To look for the... I haven't been combing for the things yet.
See, this is what I mean.
What?
They never confirmed seeing any reflectors, but what they did capture was an atmosphere of dread and the sense of something lurking just out of sight. Eventually, they decided to retreat, ending the investigation with both relief and unease. The sounds of voices, sudden gunshots, and unexplained lights could have logical explanations. Hunters in the distance, echoes amplified by the terrain, or reflections mistaken for lanterns. Yet the road's violent history and the couple's heightened state of fear may also have played a role in how each detail was perceived. The possibility of encountering real people with malicious intent cannot be dismissed, especially given the area's reputation. So, what do you think was really happening that night on Murder Road? A series of natural noises and coincidences, or something far more sinister? And if you were in their place, would you have continued deeper into the woods or turned back the moment the first gunshot rang out? Uploaded to the channel Pandemonium, this video recounts an unnerving experience during a road trip through Oregon. The creator left a quiet campsite and headed toward a new location, enjoying calm stretches of highway and picturesque scenery along the way. But as storm clouds gathered and lightning flashed on the horizon, the atmosphere shifted.
Welcome to historic Baker City, established in 1874. Exits 306 and 304. Yeah, looks like we're getting ready to come into some rain up here. I see a downspout houseboat in front of Terry and Scott. Looks weird. I thought it was an RV at first. Don't litter. Max fine $6,250. Wow, that's a steep fine. The roads look pretty clean, so I guess it works. Here comes the rain. Rain, rain, rain. Up a steep hill we go in the rain. It seems we're turning away from the storm, hopefully. I don't know, the storm's kind of everywhere.
With friends reporting golf ball-sized hail at a nearby campground, the creator decided to avoid the risk and parked overnight at a Walmart lot instead. At first, the stop seemed uneventful. While resting inside the RV with the door open, the creator suddenly heard a man calling out names, David and Shay. The voice began faint and distant, but steadily drew closer until it was directly outside the RV.
I think a big storm is headed this way. I just heard lightning and it's getting really dark over there. Terry and Scott are at the campground and they just dealt with, like, this size hail. So I don't think I'm going to be going to that camp spot. I don't know if I want to stay here at this Walmart. You hear? And not to mention, I just had something happen to me. So I heard this guy calling a name. He said David and Shay. David and Shay. And he did it multiple times. And I noticed the sound getting closer to my rig. And I was like, well, that's odd. My door was wide open. And I was laying in bed fiddling on my phone. So I got out of my bed and I stayed quiet. And I noticed the voice got really close to my door and yelled out, David, Shay. And so I started walking quietly to the front, and then they said it one more time, and they were standing right at my door, and I was like, can I help you? And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was looking for my friends, this rig looks like theirs. And I'm thinking to myself, this rig looks like theirs, but I didn't say anything at the time. But I haven't seen any rig that looks like Panda. I'm sorry. I don't know how you could mistake this rig for one of your friends. So I call bullcrap on that.
The man then appeared at the doorway. He quickly offered an excuse, claiming he thought the RV belonged to his friends, though the story made little sense. The creator noted that her distinctive vehicle looked nothing like any other nearby, making the explanation suspicious. Adding to the unease, the man carried a backpack, and his appearance suggested he might have been transient or possibly scouting for valuables. Though he left without incident, the encounter left a lasting sense of vulnerability. The creator admitted she had briefly considered remaining silent to see what the stranger might do, but ultimately chose to speak up, a decision that may have prevented something more serious. As if that wasn't enough tension, the storm outside intensified.
Anyways, he said, well, I'm sorry, and he walked away immediately. He was wearing a backpack, and I don't know if he was homeless or not. There are some, you can tell there are some homeless in this area, but I don't know if he was. It just struck me as weird, and I really think he was trying to steal my rig or steal the belongings in my rig because, I mean, I don't see anybody having the same rig as Panda. I mean, come on, really? That was the worst lie he could come up or excuse he could come up with. But, I mean, you know, I was going to stay quiet and see what he did, but then I was like, oh, do I want to get involved in that kind of drama? So I said, no, I'll say, can I help you, and see what he says. And he made an excuse and walked away. So in that storm, there's a huge thunderstorm coming this way, so I don't know if I want to stay here or not. Not to mention that did make me feel uneasy and a bit weary of this spot.
Thunder rolled closer, lightning lit up the sky, and the possibility of flash flooding or dangerous winds added another layer of anxiety. Weighing her options, the creator decided to remain at the Walmart lot, rather than risk driving into worsening conditions with a vehicle not equipped for rough terrain. The encounter could have been an innocent mistake, but the timing and the implausible excuse suggest otherwise. It's possible the man was simply seeking shelter, yet the approach, moving closer while repeatedly calling out names until directly at the door, raises questions. Combined with the storm, fatigue, and the open vulnerability of camping in public, the situation underscores how quickly a peaceful night can feel dangerous. What do you think? Was this man genuinely confused? Or was he using the names as a pretext to test whether someone was inside? And in the same position, would you have confronted him directly or stayed quiet to see what happened next? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.